Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to week 5 of the fourth marking period and all the stuff you're learning here in CP Algebra 1. We are going to continue with this factoring unit. We're getting pretty close to the end of it here. We're about a couple weeks away here from finishing off all the different factoring strategies. Like you've seen for the last couple of weeks, I've taught you a factoring strategy, then we do some solving with it. Factoring strategy, solving. The last video, you went through how to factor binomials using difference of squares. Guess what? Now we're going to go solve these. This is in itself a very, very short lesson, so I'm going to show you a couple of quick examples with difference of squares. I'm then going to also write in a couple of examples where we're going to review the other couple of strategies here, because this will help you with your graded assignment, which is going to be more of a kind of a review assignment of all the different strategies you've learned so far. So, quick review. Difference of squares is again when you have a binomial, so two terms that are being subtracted, hence the word difference, and both of those terms are perfectly square rootable. You see the pattern from up above. You square root each of the terms. One of them gets a plus sign in the middle of them, one gets a minus, so that it is properly broken apart. So let's go ahead and talk through these couple of examples. So again, if we're solving, that means we're using that zero product property, aka in order to solve these guys, they have to be equal to 0. So number 9 here, we see is equal to 0. Now we can just go ahead and worry about factoring. So, difference of squares, all I'm going to do is say, okay, I see a subtraction sign, cool. I also see that we've got x squared and 400. So the way that I can break that apart is x and x. 400 breaks apart into 20 and 20, and again, that's because you're square rooting. Only difference now compared to the last lesson, we have that equals 0. Just like we've done for all the other solving problems. Take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve. You'll get two solutions. X is negative 20. X is positive 20. Sorry about the error in writing that here. Let's fix that up. There we go. Number 10, we see it's not equal to 0. It's equal to 49. I don't want that. Just like with the other times that we've had to solve, if it's not equal to 0, you got to make it equal to 0. We want to make sure that the x squared term stays positive because it'll make it easier, again, to factor apart. So we're going to go ahead and subtract the 49. So I'll have 16x squared minus 49 equals 0. Again, I see two terms, subtraction. Both of those terms look very square rootable to me, so this will be pretty easy to break apart. 16x squared will square root into 4x and 4x. 49 turns into 7 and 7. One gets a plus, one gets a minus, and we pull down to equals 0. And again, we set each term equal to 0. Now, this is just a two-step equation, so this won't be as quick as most of the ones that we've done, just because, again, it's a two-step equation rather one, but again, very basic math that you guys have done a billion times over. So in the first one, I would just subtract 7 divided by 4. X is negative 7/4. If you want to write them as decimals, that's fine. I'm just going to keep things as fractions. Second problem, I would add 7 and then divide by 4. So I get positive 7/4. And that would be my answer. So, difference of squares. Again, they need to be two terms, subtracted, square rootable, and you break apart the factors and set them equal to 0 like we've done before. As a quick review, that's all there really is in the notes part of it. And again, with this pattern, it's pretty much, again, limited numbers to work with. I'm going to review here and make up a couple of quick problems. I'm going to review your strategies on factoring out of GCF. We'll do a problem like that. And we'll do a problem where we're going to factor and solve a trinomial. So I'll write the problem down here. If you want to try it by yourself just to make sure that you remember what you're doing, cool. If you forget, definitely watch the whole example all the way through. So let's say I gave you a problem like this. Let's say I did 7a squared plus 21a equals 0. That'll be my GCF problem. For my trinomial, let's go x squared, let's do plus 13x minus 48 equals 0. We'll do something different there. So again, if you want to try these, hit the pause button, see if you can factor them apart and solve. Otherwise, here's your explanation. So again, if I tell you to solve and factor apart using GCF, so we're looking for the greatest thing I can divide out of both terms, or all the terms that are given. You'll see with factoring completely, we'll be doing some bigger GCF problems. If I look at this, the biggest thing I can divide out is 7a. I can take a 7 out of both numbers, and I can take an a out of each set of terms. We show what's left over. So if I do 7a squared divided by 7a, 7 divided by 7 is 1. You can write the 1 or not write it. That doesn't matter to me. A squared divided by a means I have an a. Now I do positive 21a divided by 7a. 21 divided by 7 is 3. A divided by a cancels. So that's done. So factors apart into 7a times a plus 3. Now we take each factor, set it equal to 0. So again, write that a little bit nicer so it doesn't look like a 9. There we go. All you got to do is solve. So 7a equals 0. Divide by 7. The first a would be 0. Other one, we'd subtract the 3. A would be negative 3. So again, that's your quick review, how to factor and solve by GCF. Now let's do a quick factor and solve with a trinomial. So again, multiply to c, add to b. Two numbers that multiply to negative 48, add to 13. Two numbers that will do that are positive 16 and negative 3. Again, take each factor, set it equal to 0. Get two answers. X equals negative 16. X equals 3. So again, the reason why I wanted to go over those briefly is just because, again, this is a very short lesson, which, again, nothing wrong with that, but this seems like a good point here before we get into the last strategy called factoring by grouping in the next lesson. We're going to be looking at what's, again, called factoring completely, which is when all of these strategies are kind of put in the blender and you've got to know what to factor when. So it is good to remember what strategies you can use depending on how the problems look. So your grade assignment is going to go with this. It's just a handful of problems, but this will be a worksheet for you to complete. It'll be broken off a couple problems where it'll say factor and solve using GCF, factor and solve using trinomial, and factor and solve using difference of squares. Again, make sure to complete that, upload that in a timely manner. If you have any questions or need any help, again, like always, send me a message on Schoology, shoot me an email, get a hold of me during my office hours on Zoom. I will be happy to help and review anything that you could possibly need. So if you're good, thanks again for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.